The story begins with Li Yunxiang participating in a wild race. He is an expert at riding his motorcycle and always wins. Kasia, a friend, approached him right away to congratulate him. Li Yunxiang then went to the beautiful girl he had a crush on, who had been a competitor in the previous race. After she left, someone in a mask approached Li Yunxiang and asked him to fix his motorcycle, but he ignored him. The story continues in Donghai, a large but impoverished and water-stressed city with a less prosperous population. The Declan Company, a wealthy and powerful mafia, controls the water there. The story continues with Li Yunxiang's friend, Young Six, who runs a motorcycle repair shop with him. Li Yunxiang's other business is being a courier for illegal goods. Li Yunxiang is concerned when he sees widespread poverty. Li Yunxiang broke the water company's pipes after delivering the goods so that the poor could drink. The following day, there was a package in the form of a small cat. Li Yunxiang then delivered the cat, but when he arrived, it was discovered that the address was fake, so he released the cat, but the cat followed him. Because feeling bad about it, Li Yunxiang took the cat. Li Yunxiang then picked up Kasia, who worked as a singer at a nightclub. When she finished, she went straight to Li Yunxiang and was thrilled to see the kitten he had brought. They agreed to have dinner at Li Yunxiang's father's house. They met the third prince of the Declan on the way, who liked Li Yunxiang's motorcycle and wanted to buy it, but Li Yunxiang ignored him and drove away. When they arrived at their father's house, their older brother, Jin Xiang, greeted them and they all ate together. While eating, his father insinuated Li Yunxiang's work as an illegal goods courier. He was not happy to hear his father's comment, so Li Yunxiang became angry and left. Kasia approached Li Yunxiang and explained that his father was only concerned about him, and his brother reminded Li Yunxiang to be more careful with his work. On the way home, Anicia is followed by Obing and his men. He wants to buy Li Yunxiang's motorcycle, but he refuses to sell it. Li Yunxiang attempted to flee, leaving them behind. The chase ensued, and Li Yunxiang's riding abilities defeated them. The third prince used his dragon power to attack Li Yunxiang. The dragon prince claimed that he would always get his way, and he even killed Li Yunxiang's pet cat. That caused the lord within him to awaken and immediately unleash a powerful force. The prince's assistant immediately informed the Dragon King that Nezha had resurrected and that the prince was the one that had provoked him thousands of years before. When Li Yunxiang woke up the next morning, he was already in the hospital, and it turned out that the girl he liked worked there. Her name was Dr. Su. Li Yunxiang went straight to Kasia and was heartbroken to see her lose her leg. People from the Declan suddenly appeared before them, and the Dragon King named Basta apologized to Li Yunxiang for what his son had done, as well as returning Li Yunxiang's motorcycle and compensating him with a suitcase of gold. But because Li Yunxiang refused to be reconciled with the Dragon King ordered his assistant to kill Li Yunxiang before Nezha really rose from his reincarnation. The older brother tried to persuade Li Yunxiang, but he refused to listen and refused to forgive them. They were suddenly attacked by the Dragon King's men, and a chase ensued until Li Yunxiang and his brother fell off the motorcycle. The Dragon King's men who pursued them turned out to be all monsters and demons with great strength, and when Li Yunxiang was cornered, his great strength returned to him. A masked man approached him and said they knew each other. Li Yunxiang rushed her brother to the hospital and approached the masked man, demanding an explanation. The masked man turned out to be a six-eared ape who claimed Li Yunxiang was the reincarnation of the god Nezha. He then left not long after that. When the prince met his father elsewhere, the Dragon King scolded him and showed him the same wound, and 3,000 years had passed and the wound caused by Nezha had never healed. He said Nezha is very powerful because of its ability to kill demons as well as gods. The Dragon King made a backbone of steel and resurrected the prince who had been killed by Nezha 3,000 years before. The four Dragon Kings worked together to defeat him. But unfortunately Nezha continues to reincarnate, and every time a baby is born with Nezha's characteristics, the Dragon King will kill it. But Nezha had returned, stronger than ever. Not long after, the assistant and the Dragon King met the six-eared monkey to ask him to kill Nezha. Dragon King offers 2 gold covers to the monkey. Dragon King hopes that the six-eared monkey will help him get rid of Nezha. The next day, while repairing his motorcycle, a fire suddenly burst out of Li Yunxiang's body and burned his motorcycle. Li Yunxiang approached the six-eared monkey and asked him to teach him how to control his powers in exchange for fixing the monkey's bike. The monkey chose to help Li Yunxiang instead of doing what the Dragon King told him to do. The monkey explained that Li Yunxiang was born with eternal fire in his body, and his current body was incapable of containing it, so Li Yunxiang required some resource that could channel his fire or his body would burn. To cut a long story short, the monkey taught Li Yunxiang how to control and use his powers simultaneously. The days were filled with tough exercises while they also assembled the equipment to be used, and Li Yunxiang also created a prosthetic leg for Kasha. Li Yunxiang's training paid off as he grew stronger over time. Nezha had been reincarnated numerous times, but none of his reincarnations had ever succeeded in merging with the god. In order to merge with the god, Li Yunxiang had to obtain Nezha's astra, the celestial ribbon and cosmic ring. After that, Li Yunxiang returned to his workshop, and suddenly the Dragon King's army came to attack. The Dragon King's assistant showed his true form and fought there. Well, Li Yunxiang got angry and awakened his power, and the eternal flame burned the king's assistant mercilessly. Li Yunxiang returned to the hospital and quietly listened to her father talks to his brother who was still unconscious. Dr. Su tried to comfort Li Yunxiang not to blame himself for what happened. It wasn't long before Kasha woke up and felt sad for losing her leg. Patruk appeared out of nowhere, damaging Li Yunxiang's equipment and killing 6 people. Patruk attempted to kill Kasha after she witnessed his actions. Then an explosion occurred caused by the monster's attack and destroyed the hospital and the patient inside. Li Yunxiang's father was stabbed and could not be saved. Before he died, his father told him that Li Yunxiang was a wonderful son and wished him well in the future. Elsewhere, the monkey arrived at the Dragon King's residence and discovered that the king had taken the water in the Donghai using monsters. When the Dragon King discovered that the six-eared monkey had assisted Nezha, he was furious. The Fan Queen attacked the monkey, and she was captured by the Sky Ribbon, which was Nezha's Astra. Li Yunxiang appeared out of nowhere to make a deal with the Dragon King. For a moment, the Dragon King chose to leave, but the prince chose to fight against Li Yunxiang, and an exciting battle ensued between the forces of fire and water. Until finally, the prince revealed his true form as a mighty dragon, as he had done 3,000 years before. Nezha pulled the dragon prince's spine and the prince died. When the Fan Princess attacked Li Yunxiang, the six-eared monkey stopped her. The Fan Princess's words made Nezha remember her dark past as a chaotic child of God. Li Yunxiang told the monkey to let Princess Fan go. Suddenly, the six-eared monkey shows his true form, which turns out to be Sun Gokong, the Monkey King. Sun Gokong said the Dragon King stole water to increase the power of the Dragon Pearl, and the Sky Ribbon, which is his Astra, is also there. If Li Yunxiang can't use the Sky Ribbon, then he is not Nezha. Li Yunxiang returns to the hospital and Patruk blames Li Yunxing for what happened. Kasha came and said that Patruk killed Six and damaged Li Yunxiang's equipment. Because of fear, he tried to escape and finally fell. Li Yunxiang's father was buried, and he was determined to defeat the Dragon King and restore water in Donghai City. After that, Li Yunxiang went to the Dragon King's palace and was attacked by a large shark, which he then rode, until he arrived at his destination and released the shark. Once inside, Li Yunxing saw a dragon pearl and a water-sucking monster tied to his Sky Ribbon. Li Yunxing tried to release it but couldn't. The Dragon King then came and took Dr. Su as a hostage. A battle ensued between Li Yunxiang and the Dragon King of the East Sea. Li Yunxiang was cornered and electrocuted, but he rose again and defeated the Fan Princess and burned the Dragon King until finally the Dragon King showed his true form as the ruler of the East Sea. He brought down the pagoda and unleashed the river dragons in order to bring a tsunami to Donghai. Li Yunxiang tried everything he could to keep the pagoda from falling, but his efforts were no use. River dragons rushed to the water's surface. The Dragon King mocked Li Yunxiang and told him to give up because he was just a regular person. Meanwhile, the surface of the water grew larger, and Li Yunxiang used all of his remaining strength to burn the Dragon King to a crisp. Dr. Su rushed to him, but Li Yunxiang died, the sea was rising and a tsunami was on its way. Suddenly in his dream Li Yunxiang met the real Nezha and asked him to find a new body and save Donghai. After that, the celestial ribbon reunited and wrapped around Li Yunxiang's body, his blood flow was reactivated and the god Nezha decided to truly unite with Li Yunxiang. Nezha then rose and used his sky ribbon to capture the river dragon on the surface. Then it began to rain, and Donghai survived the massive tsunami. Sun Gokong arrived soon after, and after witnessing Li Yunxiang successfully complete his task with the celestial ribbon he used, Nezha was truly reborn. Thanks for watching until the end. If you liked the video, please subscribe and give it a like. It only takes a second, but it means a lot to us. Have a great day and we'll see you in the next video.